Some city names honor one family. Mbombela sounds wider than that. It speaks of people pressed together by movement, trade, work, and hope. When we look at Mbombela, we are not only looking at a dot on a road map. We are looking at a place where language, land, power, work, and memory have met over time. The name Mbombela carries one layer of meaning, while the older name or parallel name Nelspruit opens another layer. That is why this episode is not only about pronunciation, it is about who had the authority to name the place, whose language was treated as official, and what the town wants us to remember now. The name Mbombela is commonly explained as a lot of people together in a small space. Its language world is Siswati. That meaning matters because South African place names often preserve more than one kind of evidence. Some names describe rocks, rivers, bays, coal, or movement. Others honor governors, settlers, chiefs, companies, farms, or political leaders. And sometimes a name changes because a country decides that the old public memory no longer tells enough of the truth. The older naming story here is Nelspruit joined the Nel family name to the Afrikaans word for a small stream, placing a settler family and a watercourse at the center of the map. This is important because old names often look natural only after they have been repeated for generations. At the beginning, they were choices. Someone selected a family name, a colonial official, a physical landmark, a company, or a translated description, and that choice entered maps, post offices, railway timetables, school books, and everyday speech. The landscape around this episode is the Lowveld. The N4 Maputo corridor, roads to Mozambique and Eswatini, farms, tourism, and the road toward Kruger National Park. If we imagine the place only through the name, we miss the bodies, roots, buildings, rivers, hills, mines, streets, and institutions that made the name meaningful. A place name sits on top of lived geography. People walk through it, work inside it, leave it, return to it, and argue about it. That is why a name can feel personal even when it was created by a government office. The city of Mbombela's own profile says the name aptly describes parts of the municipal area and notes how the city grew from an outpost into a gateway, business center, and provincial capital. This gives the episode its deeper historical weight. Names survive because they are attached to systems: local government, mining, ports, transport, colonial administration, apartheid planning, provincial capitals, or memorial culture. Once a name is attached to those systems, it becomes difficult to separate the word from the power that carried it. The turning point in this story is this: the new name shifts attention from possession by a family to density, gathering, and the social life of a regional city. That shift is not always simple, and it is not always universally welcomed. Some people hear a name change and think first about cost, maps, documents, or habit. Others hear it as recognition. Others may feel both at once. In South Africa, those reactions are part of the story because public memory was never evenly shared. This is why the old and new names should not be treated as empty labels. Nelspruit tells us what one era wanted to place in front. Mbombela tells us what another era is trying to recover, recognize, or describe. The most interesting history often sits between those two names, in the tension between familiarity and restoration. Mbombela is now a meeting point, rural and urban, South African and cross-border, administrative and touristic, agricultural and commercial. That legacy gives the episode a modern edge. The name is still spoken by residents, officials, visitors, taxi drivers, teachers, journalists, business owners, and families. It appears in search results, route planning apps, weather forecasts, municipal notices, sports fixtures, and family conversations. A place name is history that people keep using without always stopping to think about it. For a YouTube viewer, the key is to hear the name as a doorway. Do not rush past it. Say it slowly. Ask what language it comes from. Ask who used the older name and why. Ask what was happening when the town grew. Ask whose work made it important. Ask what pain, pride, wealth, or resistance became attached to it. When we do that, the map begins to look less flat. It becomes a set of stories stacked on top of one another. In Mbombela, the name also teaches us that memory is not only kept in museums. It is kept in road signs, train stations, city logos, heritage trails, municipal documents, and the way older and younger generations speak about home. A grandfather may still use the name he grew up with. A school child may learn the restored name first. A business may keep the older wording for brand recognition. A municipality may use the newer one in official documents. All of that is history happening in ordinary speech. This does not mean every name change solves the material problems of a place. A renamed city may still struggle with poverty, pollution, unemployment, service delivery, housing, or inequality. But the fact that a name change does not solve everything does not mean it means nothing. Names shape public honor. They decide what gets normalized. They tell future generations which languages and memories belong in public. Now slow the story down and picture the first visual layer, the Lowveld, the provincial capital of Mpumalanga, the N4 Maputo corridor, routes to Mozambique and Eswatini, farms, tourism, and the road toward Kruger National Park. A camera can move across the physical place before the narration explains it. This matters because viewers should feel that Mbombela is not an abstract argument about words. It is a real place with weather, traffic, work, memory, families, and uneven development. The name becomes stronger when the viewer can see the ground it belongs to. The second layer is the old name, Nel Spruit. In many South African towns, an older official name became powerful because it was repeated by institutions. It appeared in administrative letters, railway notices, court records, newspapers, maps, and school geography lessons. Repetition gave it authority. But repetition does not make a name neutral. It only shows us which language and which memory had access to official power at the time. The third layer is Mbombela. Because the meaning is a lot of people together in a small space, the name asks the listener to think differently about the place. It may point to language, land, industry, settlement, or public memory. It may restore a sound that was pushed aside, or it may describe the force that built the town more honestly than the older label did. Either way, the newer public name changes the first sentence people tell about the place. This is also where pronunciation becomes part of respect. If a presenter rushes through Mbombela, mispronounces it, or treats it as impossible, the script loses some of its purpose. A name from Siswati should not be treated as a problem to avoid. It should be introduced carefully, repeated naturally, and placed in context so that the audience learns the sound together with the story. Mbombela. Sometimes the answer is a governor, a settler family, a mining company, or a colonial spelling. Sometimes the answer is a river, a community, a language, a resource, or a struggle. The name on the map may be short, but the answer behind it is rarely small. That is why Mbombela belongs in this series. It gives us a compact way to talk about the larger South African pattern: old names, restored names, contested names, translated names, and names that mean different things to different communities. The story is not about forcing everyone to forget what they once called a place. It is about making enough room for the histories that were once left outside the official signboard. By the end of the episode, the viewer should not only remember that Mbombela means a lot of people together in a small space. They should understand why that meaning matters, why Nelspruit still lingers in memory, and why South African place names are often small windows into land, labor, language, and power. There is another reason to linger here. Town names shape how outsiders arrive. A tourist, investor, student, or new resident often meets Mbombela first as a word on a screen. If that word is stripped of context, it becomes just another destination. But once the name is explained, the place becomes harder to reduce. The viewer starts to see that even a short label can contain a debate about ownership, dignity, translation, and historical repair. The story also belongs to the people who live with the practical consequences of naming. They are the ones who update addresses, argue about pronunciation, correct visitors, remember older signage, and decide what to teach children. For them, Mbombela is not only a heritage topic, it is part of daily language. That daily use is where a name either becomes alive or remains a word imposed from above. So this episode should not end with the idea that the old name was simply bad and the new name is simply good. The more honest lesson is richer than that. Nelspruit shows us one historical layer. Mbombela reveals another. The work of memory is to hold the layers together without pretending they carried equal power. So when we say Mbombela, we should hear more than a pronunciation challenge or a line on a signboard. We should hear the older name Nelspruit and ask what it carried. We should hear the meaning, a lot of people together in a small space, and ask why that meaning matters. We should hear the people who lived through the changes and the people whose histories were missing from official maps for too long. That is the quiet power of South African town names. They can look ordinary from far away, but once we move closer, they reveal conquest, labor, migration, language, faith, industry, resistance, and belonging. They remind us that a country is not only built by constitutions and elections. It is also built by the names people agree to speak, contest, restore, and pass on. Mbombela shows that a city is not only where roads meet, it is where people gather until the place itself begins to speak.